And then live. Oh shit! I better take the thing off the camera if I'm live. Otherwise, nobody's gonna know. Nobody's gonna know I'm live. Hmm. Yeah, I'm not good at this yet. I'm working on it, but I'm not that good at it. And the reason I say that is because the fall and rise of silver. Yeah. Well, I mean, come on. Nothing goes straight up forever. And so I've been watching very carefully to see where support levels are, to see what's really going on. Oh my God, is it really going to hit $400 by tomorrow? No, it's not. Um, I said 300 by December, and I'm sticking with 300 by December. So, and if you remember, well, it was a few weeks ago, about a month ago, I said, if it keeps going up this much, this fast, it's not good. It makes me a little nervous. So now you know why I said that, because it was going up just a little too fast. 45-degree angle, I'm happy with. Once you hit 50 something degrees and you're going like this every day, that's not sustainable. Speaking of sustainable, for those of you who want sustainable, where are we at right now? We should be around 81 something, right? Yeah. 81. Okay. Well, let's do this. Let's go to watch list. And why is it showing that? That's very strange. It's showing my thoughts on XRP haven't changed. That it's a fun fling if you want to take a wild shot, just like I've been saying since I don't know, when did I start saying this, guys? Like beginning of the year? No, it was a little after that. It was probably mid-January. No, I don't know. I don't remember. I'd have to go back and look. But at one point, I did some research and said, okay, you know what? XRP could be, one of those dark horse things where you throw a little bit of money at it and it could do well. But, um, but as far as like, what you invest in, silver. So here's what I wanted to show you guys. Let's see. Let's go to silver. Boom. Let's see. Let's take a quick peek at a 3-month chart. Oh, I already had it set on 3 months. Okay, so let's see. January 12th. Okay, was a Monday, and it was 85. And now we're at 82. So basically, if you look back over the last month, if you look back over 3 months, we're up. We're looking great. If you look back over the last month, we're break even. And the reason is there's this huge hump in the middle where everything just exploded. Not really what I wanted to have happen. Like I keep saying, I would like to see it go up a little bit every day. Okay. What's a kilo worth? 30, what is it, 31 ounces? 30 ounces, 30.8. I don't even keep track because I don't deal with kilos, but 30 times 82. No, not doing it. Not doing your math for you, son. Got to do your own math. Keto. By the way, if you want to know how bad it is in London, Tom fucking Cruise, Mission Impossible. Okay, the Jack Reacher movies, does his own stunts. He's killed more people in the movies than just about anybody I know. with the possible exception of maybe John Wayne back in the day. And he is moving out of London because it's too dangerous. If it's too dangerous for Tom fucking Cruise, you know what I'm saying? You saw the Mission Impossible where he was hanging off the side of that cargo plane. Yeah, he did that stunt himself. The one in Abu Dhabi, UAE, where he's hanging off the top of the Burj Khalifa, the world's tallest building. Yeah. Yeah, he did that stunt himself. But he thinks that London's too dangerous. Oh, immigration. It's working out good for you guys over there, isn't it? Oh, Britannia. They have come up with some dumb ideas. A kilo is 2.2 pounds. I'll buy that for $1. And I also think that a kilometer is 1.6. No. A mile is 1.6 kilometers. That much I do know. And the reason I know that was because I accidentally had my car set on kilometers one day, zipping down the freeway, and looked down and went, oh, fuck, 120. No, I'm not doing 120. Not unless everybody else is doing about 110. And then I realized it was kilometers. And I thought, wow, I kind of think this is cool. You leave it on kilometers, it makes you feel like you're getting places faster. I thought a meter was over a yard, Luke. Don't fuck with me, Luke. I think a meter's more than a yard. Yeah, sometimes the old ways are the best ways. "39 inches," says Lord Kurz. Yeah, sure, it's 39 inches. Maybe on the internet, bro. You know what I'm saying? By the way, for all 5 of you on YouTube who are watching me, I keep looking over there because TikTok's over there. And I've got 149 people, theoretically, if the algorithm's not lying to me. I'm not saying you're a bunch of lying bastards, TikTok. By the way, I did just go to an ad for silver. Turns out that the place was selling silver eagles for $19. Real silver eagles for $19. That means that the TikTok shop is absolutely perfect, batting 1,000. Never have they ever had a legitimate deal on silver except for me. I am the only legitimate deal on silver, and I'm not even on the TikTok shop. 121, 118. What the hell are we talking about? 118. What? 133. Do you think a floor will be set for silver? Yes. Well, the floor, I believe, for silver, you're not going to like this, but the floor for silver is around 65. We're going to get resistance at about 80 for sure. So unless somebody really wants to punch through resistance, we should be off and running. We should, and again, I don't want to see it go to 120 overnight. That's bullshit. I mean, look, yesterday was a good, strong day. What did we do yesterday? One day. In one day, we were up. Okay, it says we're down. Okay, let's look at the 5-day. So we started, what was it? We started the day at 70 something, 78. And then we got up to 81. So for the month, we're only up 6.5%. Now that means that for the year, over the last 12 months, we're up 157%. That's too much. It's not good. But I mean, it's great. It's great, right? But here's where it should be. Over 10 years, the price of silver has gone up by 435.96%. Holy moly. That's what we want. But he doesn't pay a dividend. Fuck you and your dividend. That's 45%, baby. 43%. Close enough. Bottom line is, if I get a stock that pays me 7% dividend and goes up by, I don't know, 6% a year, no. Give me 43% and give me the safest asset I can buy, which would either be gold or silver. Let's face it, it's gold or silver. Or what? Fucking stamps? I don't think so. So, bottom line is this: we've got a track record of 43%. It went up by 12 billion percent in December. That's unhealthy. Okay, well, let's take a look. If I go 1 year, I run the numbers from so from about May until now, we are looking at a nice healthy amount. If we look at December of 25, beginning of December of 25 at 60, which was awesome. We went from, come on, give me some numbers. We went from 32 to 60. We did almost 100%. So everybody's happy. Yay, all right, we had a great year. Okay, we made 100%. We kicked everybody's ass. Woohoo! And then all of a sudden, we went from 60 on December 8th to 120. We did 100% in 3 weeks. That's not sustainable. Where does that go? Well, in another 3 weeks, that's 240. In another 3 weeks, that's 480. In another 3 weeks, you're in 960, I think, if I'm doing the math right. Yeah, that doesn't work. That's not how it works. So we're at 82 right now. I like 82. From 60, let's see, what's today? The 9th. All right, let's see a month ago where we were. We were at 61. So from 61 to 82, I like that. That feels healthy. It's a little much, but it's healthy. We're looking at 20 on 60, so just round up and call it 30. So we're looking at a 30% increase in a month. Yep, that's too much, actually. That's a bit much. It's not sustainable. You have to remember that if the shit hits the fan for silver, bad things can happen to us. We don't want that. What we want is we want to just continue to just increase slowly but surely. And when I say slowly, I don't mean like the stock market, which, by the way, where are we at there? I think we had an up day today, finally. Well, 0.7%, not exactly a fucking barn burner. Dow Jones finally broke 50. Goodbye. Remember I said that. Can somebody write that down, please, somewhere? Because I'm going to forget I said that, and then I'm going to be pissed. Or I'm going to forget what did you change your name? What laptop? Big N, corn-fed, N. Big, the letter N, corn-fed. God damn it, my sign is not up. I've got a sign that I'm going to put right over there by all of this survival stuff. And by the way, for those of you who aren't preppers, good. Preppers are weird people. They want to be like, they want to live in a cave underground by themselves. That I don't get it. I just don't get it. I mean, look, I want to survive the AI sun solar flare, whatever the fuck might happen next, cold streak, hot fucking flash, whatever, menopause that the United States is going through, whatever it is, I want to survive it too. That does not mean I'm going to dig a 400-foot hole in the ground and hide in it, because that's not how you survive. It's dumb. Surviving by yourself is hard. Ask anybody who's been in Delta, and they'll tell you that the thing about Delta that makes Delta so damn special and puts really the special in special forces is they go out alone. They operate alone. And being alone is different. I got to be a forward observer in the Marine Corps for a little while, and well, I can tell you, being a forward observer is a very strange thing, because you snoop and poop all by yourself. Your CO says they're out there. Go find them. And of course, this was a little bit before drones. It's a little bit before phones, back in the 1800s. Not that old, but so yeah, you had to go out and snoop around, actually find the enemy, and then haul ass and tell somebody, because you didn't want to wander around, depending on where you were. But if you weren't in triple canopy jungle, the last thing you wanted was for your Prick 77, your radio with a huge antenna flopping around, even if it's doubled over and taped down, or comm wired. They don't even fucking have comm wire anymore. It's so weird, because the entire Marine Corps was held together with comm wire at the time. Duct tape and comm wire pretty much fixed everything. But even with that radio was a dead giveaway, and I do mean dead, because anybody who saw a radio or a radio man knew that radio and that guy holding that radio, that was air support. That was what calls in the A-10s. That's what calls in the fast and slow movers. That's what calls in the Apaches. That's what calls in at the time, naval support, depending on how close to the beach you are. And so their number one priority was find the idiot with that fucking radio and shoot him. And if you can, shoot the radio. When silver was 119, the dealer offered me 90 for 10 ounces, and I walked away. Good. Vietnam vet. Dorothy, I'm offended. Wait. Maybe the hat ages me. My dad was in Vietnam, for Christ's sakes. Yeah, I'm not, wow. Need to start using some face lotion or some shit. Maybe eat more bacon. That's what I'm assuming. Dorothy thinks I was in Vietnam. No, I was not in Vietnam. Buddy of mine just got back from Vietnam, though. And he was in the Marine Corps, but he wasn't in the Marine Corps while he was in Vietnam. Yeah, actually, Desert Shield's a little closer, but I got out right before Desert Shield. I was actually really disappointed. I called the Hall of Records in Kansas, Leavenworth, Kansas, and asked them if there was any way to delay my end of, it's not end of active service, because by that point I was reserve. And they said, no, you're done. I said, man, oh, my buddy's going to go over there. They're going to get to kill bad guys. I never got to do that. That sucks. Guess what? That's not what happened. They did come back with a brain cancer rate of 4,000 times the national average, but that had nothing to do with blowing up the Camisea weapons depot in place with enough explosives to actually make it look it up on YouTube, to make it look like an atomic explosion. It looked like a nuclear weapon went off. They blew up something that they said was the size of 66 super Walmarts full of chemical and biological weapons. Yeah, they made sure that nobody ever wanted to live in southern Iraq again, but they also blew it up, not really thinking about the prevailing winds at 100,000 feet of altitude either. So officially, nothing happened. Oh, I thought about re-enlisting. Thought about it. And then the war was over in 100 hours. And when my buddies got back, I was like, yeah, man. So what happened? And they said, not a fucking thing. Nothing. It was a waste of time. It was the most boring thing we've ever done, ever. We had scorpion fights and camel spider fights. And that was it. And I said, what else? And they said, we donned our chem suits 300-400 times, and that was it. That was the whole damn thing. It really sucked. Unfortunately, that wasn't actually all that was it, because the use of tank busters like the A-10 led to lots and lots of depleted uranium powder everywhere. And I had friends that came back, and they had kids, and it was not pretty what happened. Their wives developed cancer in that area, and they ended up getting cancer. Their kids were born with massive birth defects, at least the ones I knew. Now, if you ask the Pentagon, they'll tell you that Gulf War syndrome was not a thing, that it was just everybody's imagination, and it was just Marines being a bunch of pussies. I did a little homework, though, and I found out that the chem suits that were made for the Marines that were over there for Desert Shield came from a couple of Israeli guys who cheated. They were supposed to make the chem suits out of whole pieces of cloth so that when they stitched them together, they would be airtight. But what they did was they used fabric remnants instead because it was cheaper. And then they would use the same dozen or so well-made suits and simply spray paint the lot numbers onto the side of a new box and show that to the inspectors. So when the inspectors for the DoD showed up at their manufacturing facility, these two Israelis would say, oh yeah, let's go, we'll go dig for them right now. Hold on for a second. Hey, lot number such and such. And they'd spray paint that lot number on the side with quick drying paint. They'd bring it in and go, here you go. And they'd crack open the case and go, yeah, looks good, passes inspection. But they made 800,000 chem suits that were all defective. All defective. You're probably wondering how long those Israelis, those very, very, very conscientious Jewish boys were put in prison for. They weren't. They weren't put in prison. Look it up. Not too hard to find. If you just do a little Googling, find out who made the chem suits for the Marines. I'm pretty sure they made them for the Army too. They made a lot of them. And by doing that, they made an extra $300,000-$400,000. No, Mike, come on, seriously? You can't sue the DoD? And of course, none of this came out for years afterwards. So by the time that it did come out, I'll give you 3 guesses where the owners of that company were living. First guess, Greenland? No. New Zealand. Bingo. They were living in Israel. Yep, they fled the country. But not before one of the two brothers had done another deal where he had a pump and dump scam with his son, where he pumped and dumped millions of dollars worth of stock, made millions of US dollars, and then he fled the country. I think he actually did like a year in prison for that one. It was a federal country club, of course, but then, after that, he decided that it was time to go back to the motherland where nothing is illegal as long as you're violating the goy. Because, says right there in the book, if it's a goy boy, it doesn't count because it's not a human. That's not misinformation. That's not my opinion. I've read it. Look it up. That's what it says. So, and now Palantir, who is Palantir is Peter Thiel. Peter Thiel's an interesting guy. Peter Thiel's a very interesting guy. He's kind of like Larry Ellison, And if you look at him, look them up. They're weird looking. Don't look them up now. 45 mil butyl rubber. 45 mil? You mean 4.5 mil? I grew up surfing in California. I know that 45 mil, a 45 mil wetsuit would mean I couldn't move. A 3 mil wetsuit was a spring suit, and a 4.5 mil wetsuit was a cold water suit. I got a pretty good memory. Look up DPE suits. All right. What is a DPE suit? Wow. That's pretty cool. Looks like a spacesuit. All right. Let's go to shopping. I want one. What? What? That's all fucked up. They got racing suits. You got all kinds of stuff, but they don't. Why? I said I wanted a DPE suit. They show them in the images. No, I can tell what they are. This is like for a level 4. This is definitely a level 4 lab right here. No, wait a minute. This guy's he's got an apparatus on under the suit. Maybe this is not level 4. Demilitarization protective ensemble. That's funny. They actually call it my ensemble. Okay, so tell me a little bit about it. Protective suit, boots, gloves, 3 layers. Okay. One-time use. That's not good. It weighs 50 pounds? What? All right, come on now. Wait a minute. Give me a spec sheet, you fuckers. This is starting to piss me off. Show Greenland on the map. Hey, Greenland. I don't think you can see Greenland. Oh, yeah, you can still see Greenland on the map. It's right over here by the beans. And by the way, those beans, there's a reason I've got all that out there. Because for you people who think you're preppers, well, if you're preppers, you don't need to hear this. Go. Unless you're going to buy some silver, then stay. But we wore the chemical weapons demilitarization while destroying the chemical weapons. Destroying the chemical weapons that we didn't give to Saddam Hussein. Oops. So let's put some things in perspective, okay? That over there I'm pointing to, that is a 20-pound bag of rice. Right now, you can get those online for $10.99. They have over 200 servings at 160 calories per serving. The reason I'm telling you this is because for somebody who's got a 2,000 calorie diet, that is 16 days. Now, I know you're thinking 16 days. No, no, no. Those survival places like Wise Foods and all that shit, they're way more expensive than that. Yeah. If you want to go and get something like that, Mountain House, be my guest. That's like 50 bucks. It might have been more than that. I don't even remember, but they're expensive. But yeah, they got all kinds of goodies in them. That's probably I don't know. Let's take a look. Classic meal assortment. It's got some beef stew, some granola, whatever. Um, oh man, how many servings have we got here? Total servings, total calories. Yeah, I'm gonna say it's 2 weeks worth. That's about 2 weeks. So if you want to spend a little extra and get yourself 2 weeks worth of food instead of 2 weeks worth of food, but you want to spend 79, I think, is what I caught, and then that is $10, 10.99. Beef stew is outstanding. The beef stew and the chili happen to be the highest in protein as well. So I'm going to give you a little secret that will be in my ebook, but will not be something I talk about generally. But I want all of you to be very interested in my ebook, so I'm going to tell you now. And by the way, um, I'm going to be doing a lot of different things on this channel, not just silver, because there are some other things that we need to know about. For instance, silver is a fantastic asset class. What else should we be looking at? Because being a one-trick pony in this world will get you sent to the glue factory quickly. We don't want that. So, what else can we do to make money? What else can we do to secure our future? What else can we do to protect ourselves from what is coming? And trust me when I tell you that the more I dig, whew, man, it ain't pretty. No, copper is definitely not the answer. I know people say, oh, but copper's moving too. Okay, great. You know what? I'm sure that there are thousands of things that are moving up slowly. Why would I be interested in them if they're moving up slowly? Let me remind you that in the last year, silver's gone up 159%. And over the last 10 years, it's gone up 438%. The reason I bring that up is because over 10 years, that's a pretty good long timeline. That's a pretty good horizon to look out at. And when I see that it's gone up over 10 years, it's gone up 430%, I think to myself, hey, shit, I'm pretty good at math. What's that? 43% annually. Has copper done that over 10 years? No. So no, I don't want copper. Has gold done that? Well, let's see. No, so I don't want that. Maybe a little bit. I'll tell you what, here's what I do want. Okay. I want, if I have over $1 million in metals, which is none of your damn business, but if I did, I would want some of that in gold. Why? Well, because if you have to leave the country very quickly, or you have to buy your way out of a very bad situation somehow, and this happens, and it's always unexpected. That's the whole point of it. If you have to somehow buy yourself out of a bad situation, or God forbid, you and your family, having a gold coin is kind of like having a Rolex. That's why a lot of guys that are spec ops guys, that are undercover guys, that are not official cover, they're Knox, they have something like an Omega or a Rolex, because they know that when they get to the border and the guy says papers, you say, look, I got my papers right here, and it's like, hey, I got my papers right here. And if you hold this up, and let's just say that were the queen, but this were made of gold, guy's going to look at it, and he's going to bite it, and he's going to say, Go. I just looked over and all I saw were two big ears poking up. And in front of those two big ears, I saw two brown eyes. I see you, Henry. He just tilted his head like, bro, I'm trying to understand you. I've been trying to understand you since we met. He's a German Shepherd, and he is smarter than most of my neighbors. What about the beef stew? I love beef stew. If beef stew is a girl, I'd hit that. Wait, I hit that anyway, even though it's not a girl. Not like that, though. Ooh, that came out all wrong. That's gross. It's like we're into American Pie territory now. That's not good. Yeah. So anyway, the reason I like beef stew is because it's got a lot of protein. I'm gonna make beef stew tomorrow. All right, Dirt Farmer. Depending on where you're at, give me a call. I'll come help get rid of it. So, by the way, just so we're clear, when I'm talking about the reason that I like this stuff and the reason that I don't think you should, Ohio's even a little too far for me to go for beef stew. Normally, like if you were in a contiguous state to Arizona, I might show up depending on how good your stew is. But if you're in Ohio, I have to assume you're a farmer. I have to assume your stew is going to be fucking awesome. It's going to kick ass because well, that's how you people roll in those flyover states. Nothing much to see there. No amusement parks that set the world on fire. No fucking nothing, really. Just dirt. But the food's awesome and the people are nice as hell. Kind of keep to themselves, though, don't they? It's kind of weird. But it's a cool place. Cool place to live. Yeah, I figured. Look, man, farmers know fresh, obviously. If it was soaking up sunshine this morning and it's soaking up stomach juices tonight, that's some fresh fucking stew. But here's my point. See these bad boys right here? MREs. These are the old-fashioned MREs. This is kind of shit I used to eat. Now I'm going to show you the new high-tech super-duper MREs. See how they're vacuum sealed? They're all sucked in like a supermodel. Why? Why are you sucking the oxygen out of my MREs nowadays? They're DOD. Well, because fit more of them in your pack, that's all. This one's got a hole in it. What the fuck? Oh, man. Well, luckily everything inside is sealed up, so that hole doesn't mean much. Unless my Tabasco fell out, in which case I'm going to throw a fucking shit hissy because that's the only thing that makes these. Oh, well, it's beef goulash. It's not going to have any. It's not going to have any Tabasco in it anyway. By the way, beef goulash, shit's delicious compared to starving to death. And the pork sausage patty, maple flavored. Fuck yeah, McDonald's. Stay on your toes, boys, or you're going under. And then we've got. I hung this up. I don't even know why I did that, but then we've got the yuppie shit right here. Now this stuff, beef stroganoff. Why I know the backstory to beef stroganoff is beyond me. I couldn't tell you why, but I do. There was a general in the Russian army named Stroganov. And he came up with this way of making shit that would normally taste terrible, but he put it all in a pot together and somehow he cooked it up so that it was fucking delicious. And the Russian troops loved it and they could serve it hot. It was cheap and the guy's a hero. Leaking info. Did I miss it in the lag? No, you didn't miss anything. Yes, I am. And yes, I will. I will give you all kinds of information. But it's one of those things where if I tried to do it in a live stream, it would take me 8 hours. You'd get tired of hearing my voice. And I might even lose my voice, although I don't think I've ever lost my voice. And I used to call cadence in the Marine Corps. That's one of the first things I ever did in the Marine Corps. When we were in a holding platoon, they said, "Who among you is very loud?" I mean, I guess I'm not telling you guys anything you don't know. If you're in a bind, would you sell silver or gold first? I'd sell an ounce of gold. That should get you out of your bind. I mean, it depends on what your bind is. You know, it's 1982 and you owe Pablo Escobar $100 million. Let's give him the gold. Because remember his old saying, now that I think about it, that was his famous saying: gold or lead. You can work for him, you can work against him. Either way, you're getting one or the other. Pablo Escobar was a fucking hero to his own people. Not really so much to us. Although to be quite frank with you, his attitude, I got restricted for something. What did I get restricted for? It redirects users to purchase products outside of TikTok. No, it doesn't. What the fuck are you talking about? Oh, man. What? That's crazy. Child support. Well, I mean, unless you've got a lot of child support, I would say you could probably get by with several ounces of silver. What are my thoughts on mercury dimes? Got one right here, baby. Oh, wait. You said mercury dimes. I just instantly thought 91% silver. So I got an Ike dime, but my Ike dime is 91%. So mercury, love them. Hey, man, it's 91% silver. So you can't use it in electronics. So fucking what? Who cares? Yeah, TikTok sucks balls. But you know what? I've got 5 people watching on YouTube. So until I get to the point where I can get on YouTube and have 100, 150 people on here, I have to keep doing what I'm doing with TikTok, which is basically eating shit and putting up with their stupid rules of their rules of not conduct, engagement, which really sucks. By the way, the reason that I like MREs and the reason that I like the Mountain House and the reason I like rice, and I'll put up with beans. Beans are good for you, high in protein. They got a lot of lectins in them. And by the way, lectins are not necessarily good for you. Can I sit down? Yes, I can. So lectins are not necessarily good for you. But this little tiny bag right here, it's 120 calories per serving. There's 104 servings in this freaking bag. Okay? 104 servings in an 8-pound bag. So let's do the math. I'm going to do it in my head because I'm good like that. 2,000 calories. This should be good for like 6 or 7 days, right? 6 days. High in iron. See? We can just go on for days about why beans are the magical fruit. The more you eat, the more you toot. The more you toot, the better you'll feel. So eat your beans with every meal. Oh, I was a kid once. What am I saying? So anyway, the reason that I'm holding these is because I want you to understand that if you cook these, you're dead. Lentils. Oh, man, I love me some lentils. Where are some red quinoa? Look, there's nothing wrong with being gay, but I'm not. I'm just, it's just for the record. Not that there's anything wrong with it, okay? I don't want to get hit for hate speech. I've had friends that were gay, but I hope that answers your question about the red quinoa. Whatever, how the fuck you say that. Sorry, autocorrect. Nice way to pull that one off. Yeah, the red quinoa. It's a sprout. So anyway, the thing about this is You eat this raw. Oh, yeah. You're saying to yourself, big and corn fed, are you out of your fucking mind? Have you ever tried to eat raw, hard beans? No, no, I never have. I mean, I don't imagine. Wait, no, I have one of these somewhere that's open. Okay, so I'll use that. We'll do that tomorrow. I'll experiment. But here's my point: you soak them in warm water. Okay, you don't cook them. If you cook these, you're dead. Okay, are we clear? Are we on the same page here? If you cook these beans in a pot, you're dead. I can't even find fava beans. Fava beans. I don't know what that is exactly. I mean, I'm sure I probably have them, but Bob Cratchit. I love it. Bob Cratchit wants to know why. That is the best question of the day. Because if you're eating these, it's because the shit has hit the fan, right? Okay. Well, if shit has hit the fan, let's say the electricity's gone out. No, just, not for a long time, just for like a month. Well, we know that all supermarkets run on a 3-day schedule. This just-in-time scheduling stuff is fantastic for corporate profits. The problem is that just-in-time means that in 3 days, this is gone. They don't have any more of this shit laying around. It's all been wiped out. So, then what happens? Well, everybody runs home and they eat everything that's in their little I was gonna say hamper, in their you can tell how domesticated I really am here. Their fucking thing, it's the closet with the food. It's the thing. It's next to the kitchen. Jesus Christ, pantry. Thank you. Oh, that really makes me feel like a fucking caveman. Anyway, so you go through everything in your pantry, and you don't because you've been listening to me, but everybody else does. And then they're down to their kidney beans, the ones that they thought, well, fuck it, we'll just wait until they expire and we'll donate them. Nope, they're going to eat them. And then once they eat them, they're going to go 2, 3, 4 days without food. And all of a sudden, they're going to realize that it's over. They can't go back to the grocery store. They're not stupid. They know that the grocery store is going to be a death sentence for anybody who is dumb enough to go there. So they're going to start thinking about where can they find food? And of course, they won't know where to look other than maybe their neighbors. So they might come knocking. And of course, if you're smart, you don't answer the door. And if you're smart, you have your windows taped up so that your blackout blinds, which look just like curtains, but your blackout blinds are taped shut so that nobody can see in. You're not stupid, so you have not turned a flashlight on one single time since the power went off, because if you do, you're dead, because that identifies you as one of the people who has stuff. And after about a week, the amount of people who have stuff is going to start to run out very quickly. There might be a few people in your neighborhood who have got enough batteries stored up that their fucking LED flashlight still works. And they might be stupid enough to walk around in their house, flashing it around. And it will be seen literally 4 blocks because it will be jet black at night with no street lights. But my point is that they'll be outside one night looking around in their backyard, and they're going to go, holy shit, do you smell that? Somebody's cooking. So it smells like stew or beans or some shit. That's got to be close by. That's it. We can take a lot of lessons from Venezuela because there was a time in Venezuela when the last coup failed and their economy completely collapsed that people were literally killing each other over food. And that is a really sad, horrible thing to realize that people were actually murdering each other over a meal. But that's what happens. No, actually, your lead projectiles, that lets everybody within a mile know that somebody's okay and probably that they have something to protect. That is an absolute last fucking resort. Don't drive them to come to your house to begin with, and then you don't need the lead. Because if you use the lead, you're fucked. Because there's always somebody with more lead and more people and more triggers to pull. So, again, and this is what I tell people with silver, most important thing, security through obscurity. It's a rule. Now, some people will tell you to bug out. The shit hits the fan, you bug out. We'll talk about that on a different day. And of course, it'll be in my book. So if you really want to understand this stuff and you want step-by-step instructions on both ways, because look, there are some people that have to bug out. They have to bug out. If they stay, they're dead. There are some people that if they try to bug out, they're definitely dead because they can't. They can't bug out. Look, you know who you are. You said you're going to work out last year and the year before and the year before, and you just haven't gotten around to it. Job is stressful. You've been busting your ass at work. Sure, you've done well for yourself financially, and now you can afford to pay the bills or what have you. Or maybe you just lost a few steps here and there over the course of years, and now that you're in your 60s or 70s, the last thing you want is a 20-mile hump into the hills because it's probably not going to happen, especially if you have to carry anything with you, and you will. So you're not bugging out. You're bugging in for the duration. And, if the duration is a month, you're going to be there in a month. You may not be in the best shape you've ever been in. You might smell a little funky, although I will teach you how to not smell at all, not take a shower for weeks, not take a bath for months, and not smell. It's a secret. But I will teach it to you. So I don't help my liberal neighbor who has 3 young boys and has no idea what's going on. Totally up to you. If your neighbor has a skill set and those boys are a good source of labor that you're going to need, fuck yes you do. If he's a good human, fuck yes you do. However, there are going to be people out there who in the past have seemed like they're fairly good people. They're not. You just don't know it because of the thin veneer of civilization. And remember, 200 years ago, this country was all about deciding who was a man and who was not a real man based on principles, not personalities. That has completely and utterly changed. We literally decide who is worthy and who is unworthy based on how much personality they can project, not whether or not they're useless motherfuckers. Keep that in mind, because being nice to the people who are cool will get you killed faster than anything else. Yes, Venezuela is the largest oil supply in the world. We all know that. Arrow pew pews. Yeah. What are you planning for here? In my opinion, this is just my opinion. One of two things: either A, a solar flare, or B, asymmetric warfare. And I'll explain the asymmetric warfare in so fast that you're not going to believe me. You're going to think I must be full of shit. You're going to pray to God I'm wrong, and then when you find out I'm right, you will not sleep well tonight. I promise you. This is a promise. So we suspect that there are somewhere in the neighborhood of 300,000 Chinese immigrants who have slipped over the border in the last 7 to 10 years. Okay. Now, 300,000 military-aged men, almost exclusively military-aged men, have slipped across the border. Now you see the deportations, you see all the Mexicans, you see all the Guatemalans, all the people from El Salvador, all the people from Nicaragua. Don't see a lot of Asians, do you? Don't see a lot of Chinese being rounded up. Here's the problem. If I had 300,000 people that were loyal to me inside of your country, I don't give a fuck what country you have. I own you. You are mine. I have you by the balls and I can squeeze as hard as I want and you'll do whatever I tell you because it only takes 30 of those 300,000 men to completely cripple you. 30. That's it. You give me 30 men, okay? 10 teams, 3-man teams. Each of those 3-man teams has a Barrett, let's say a M109, a Barrett 50 cal sniper rifle, or anti-personnel, or anti-tank, well, not tank, but personnel carrier, definitely anti-vehicle. So you take one of those, you sit up on a ridge above a power station, make sure it's an important one, and you punch a few holes. Lever action, you're not in a hurry. Keep in mind that the first time you pull that trigger, you've probably got between 20 minutes and 2 hours before anybody shows up. So you punch a hole in that huge 450,000 pound transponder. And then you punch a few holes in the next one over, which weighs 800,000 pounds, that can only be made in Germany or South Korea, that are backlogged by 3 years. You punch a few holes in that. How long does that take? 2 minutes? 3 minutes? Then you haul ass. We're done here. We're done here. Or, if you really want to get crazy, you launch a cyber attack. You've got plenty of people inside the United States who can get to critical infrastructure. You launch a cyber attack. You knock out a few things as a distraction. Maybe a gas pipeline. That's already happened. Maybe you fuck up a dam and make the dam back up and blow the hydroelectric plant. Just a few things here and there as distractions. Then, boom, cyber attack. Everything goes down. Now you know that we're not going to put up with that for very long, man. We're gonna figure out where this came from. We're going to squash it, and we're going to get all of our systems back up and running, probably in less than an hour. A day for sure, but probably in less than an hour. Well, here's the fun part. You've knocked out all of our civilian capabilities. By the way, 90% of the bases in the United States, 90% of our military in the United States is run on civilian fucking power. Yeah. They don't have their own infrastructure. They're not fucking hardened against EMPs. So what do? Well, during this time when we have zero visibility in the sky, zero visibility in the water, zero communications with our submarines, zero communication with our fucking Navy, nothing. We're totally flying blind here. And we've got no power. Well, down in the Gulf of America, you have a freighter. And on that freighter, you have a 40-foot container. This container is not like the other containers because this one's got a hydraulic system in it. You put it up at an 80-degree angle and you fire one single small nuclear weapon out of it. Now, why would you pick the Gulf of America? Because to the north, we have lots and lots of radar, some of which might still be working, and it's pointed at the Russians. And then on both sides, we have them pointed at the Russians through Europe and the Chinese over the ocean in the Pacific. We have hardly any radar pointed south because who the fuck in South America is going to attack us, right? So what I've just described to you is the end of the United States of America as we know it. Now, once that thing reaches 100,000 feet and goes off, the amount of people that it kills in that moment is zero. How much critical infrastructure damage does it do to, our water system? None. The houses are still livable. The high rises are still high. Everything seems like it's okay. However, what just happened is that blackout on the internet where everything went dark for a few minutes, That's now permanent. That's now permanent. We now have a situation where we are literally blind forever. Our communications are gone, and we have no infrastructure because it just knocked out all of the grids. It's not the fallout that kills. Sonoran Art, there's no fallout. 100,000 feet up. It's not going to hurt anybody. That's the point. When they say, oh, you got to watch out because you're going to drop a nuke on a city, who's stupid enough to do that? Let's say that I'm Russia. And I say to myself, okay, you know what? This is it. Total war. It's time to go to total war. No more of this Ukraine bullshit where we're doing proxy back and forth slap fighting like a couple of fucking teenagers with too much testosterone. Let's get it on. Well, at that point, what am I going to do? I'm going to knock out all of your systems because I'm not going to come in there and take over with a bunch of fucking rednecks in Alabama that all have 345 weapons each. Why would I even bother? I don't like cottonmouths. I don't like alligators. I know they're harmless unless you fuck with their nest. I still don't want to deal with them. So you know what? I'm going to let Billy Bob kill his own cousin instead of me doing it. That's why they haven't hit Ukraine. Because once you hit somebody with a nuclear weapon, they're done. That's it. It's uninhabitable for decades. So, why knock down all those buildings? Why destroy all that infrastructure? Why do all that when all you really want to do is kill people anyway? Fuck them, right? They're just goyim. Ooh, better watch out. A lot of derision going on in the world right now. A lot of people fighting with each other. Who gains from that? Who decided to move a bunch of Muslims into Europe anyway? Because we knew that was going to fail. Any idiot could have seen that one coming. Look, there's a small group of Muslims that are super cool. You know, they're cool people. And they're about as Muslim as I am, Chinese. So, yeah, okay, so that's the way they were raised. What are they really? They're family people. They're just normal humans. Now, there's the massive amount that are actually really, really religious. And that's really sad because the ones that are really religious, when they see somebody getting their head cut off, they go, well, that's terrible, but everything before but is bullshit. Everything after but is how they really feel. It's really terrible that they got their head cut off in public like that, but they shouldn't have said anything about the prophet. Okay, so you wouldn't do it. Oh, God, no, I abhor violence, but you won't denounce it. Well, the thing is, you can't make fun of the prophet. Okay, now you know where they stand, period. That's it. Look, you either denounce it or you don't. And if you don't, we know what side you're on, period. Same thing with Judaism. Look, am I a goy? Am I less than a dog, like it says in your holy texts? Do the 10 Commandments not count with me? Killing me is not murder? Because in times of war, you should kill the best of the goyim? Really? Is that how you feel about that? Because, boy, I got to tell you, that's kind of weird. How is Japan habitable? Very, very small nukes. And I'm really not sure. To be honest with you, I don't know why they consider it safe after this amount of time. The only thing I can think of is the type of radioactivity and the decay. Because the half-life of something like plutonium is thousands of years. And what that means, just to give you an example, is if you have a pound of it, after 5,000 years, it's not half as deadly. It means that half of the mass is dead. The other half of the mass itself, like let's say a loaf of bread, the other half of the loaf is still just as potent and just as radioactive. It's just half of it is dead. Does that make sense? I hope so. Through subliminal messages. The USS Liberty was not intentional. No, and my T-shirt's not black either. It's clearly tan. So a lot of Japanese probably get cancer. You know what's really interesting? Fucking fucking Japanese smoke more than just about anybody else in the world, and they really don't get cancer that much, but they do drink 8 cups of green tea every day. They eat a lot of seaweed, which has got a lot of iodide in it. They eat rice and fish, although I wouldn't eat fish off the west coast, excuse me, east coast of Japan anymore. Now that the Fukushima Daiichi power plant is leaking heavily into the Pacific Ocean, that is a fucking mess. The fact that they want to uncork another reactor at the base of a fucking active volcano now, come on, guys. Like, are you trying to make Godzilla a reality? Because I just don't get it. Like, the Japanese have a fucking obsession with killing themselves radioactively, which is really weird because the Japanese are extremely intelligent people. I mean, not all of them. I'm sure some are dumber than a bag of hammers, but overall, look at what they build, look at how they live, look at their morals, look at their belief systems. These are some sophisticated people. These are, overall good people that you just don't want to go to war with. But yeah, I don't know what the deal is with the people that live um, in Hiroshima or Nagasaki. But I can tell you this: I find it very odd that if you draw a line directly between those two cities, exactly between them, one to the north and one to the south, you draw a line directly between them. It's a 33rd degree. I don't know what it means. Jerusalem's on the 33rd degree. Los Angeles, 33rd degree. I hope I've given you Goyim something to think about. Gozira. That's true. They didn't say Godzilla. They said Gozira. Maybe that's the same thing. Look, I'm not trying to be racist. I'm not making fun of their way of speaking. Although, you know what? What's wrong with making fun of the way people sound? If it's just an accent, like who gives a shit? We make fun of people's accents all the time. As long as you don't make fun of somebody who's Jewish, you can get away with just about anything anymore. Although the Super Bowl ads, whoo boy, those really set me the fuck off. I was pissed. I didn't watch a halftime show, obviously. Yeah, Flied Lice, that's true. Um, I didn't watch the halftime show. I just couldn't bring myself to watch it. Um, but I did see some of the commercials. I saw the commercial where the single woman with her son with no father around. Yeah, that's normal. That's supposed to be the way it is. They bought a house, a single woman with a son to raise all by herself. She bought a beautiful house, and it was all about how awesome their life was going to be together without daddy around. That one was neato. But the one where the Hispanic people moved into the neighborhood and all the white people were really fucking mean to them and really snotty and didn't like them and sneered at them even when they said hello and ignored them, just treated them like shit because white people are the most evil fuckers on earth. We're all devils. And then of course the Mexican girl finds the white girl's puppy and in a storm and blah 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 blah, and then they become friends, because the Mexican girl finally earned the white girl's friendship. It's fucking retarded. It's horrible, absolutely horrible. And of course the first thing that went through my mind was, why don't you be honest? Okay, why don't you be honest? Why don't you show black people moving into a Mexican neighborhood? Because we know what that looks like, because the Mexicans in the neighborhood go, oh no. Yeah, it's true. Look at that. Boom. I just got flagged already for hate speech. I speak facts and they flagged me for hate speech. That is crazy. And by the way, they must have flagged me for what I was saying about the Super Bowl ads. Well, let's not talk about the one where the kid's Jewish and he gets picked on by everybody in a way that I've never seen in my life. Ever. Do I think that someone else could attack the United States and blame Muslims? Well, they have in the past, and they're going to do it again. It's just a matter of when. They're getting kind of sloppy, though. I mean, they're getting to the point now where things like Charlie Kirk are so fucking obvious that it's just nuts. Facts are kryptonite. Facts are kryptonite to everybody, not just liberals. Believe me. Wait until you see what the Epstein files really have in them. Nobody's gonna like that. I mean, I will. I'll think it's fucking hilarious. But there's a lot of people out there who are going to be really devastated. Oh my God, but I thought it was only the other side. There is no other side. There's no other side, period. There is no other side. There is a group of people that control the United States that aren't even living in this country. They hate you. They don't want anything to do with you except to use you as a slave, and they say it over and over and over again. They say it out loud. They put it in their speeches. Benjamin Netanyahu actually said that the last time they went to war with Rome, they lost. But we are the new Rome in the United States, and this time they're going to win. What the fuck does that mean? What? What? I thought you guys were our friends. Epstein was just a tool. Epstein was just a little cog in a big ass wheel. That's the reality. That's a fact. So, if you want to make sure that that people keep, speaking the truth, go to YouTube, click that link that's in my bio, go to YouTube, sign up, make sure you subscribe so that they see that there are people who actually care about the truth. Like some videos of mine on here on TikTok. I don't think it'll help because it shows that I've taken on hundreds and hundreds of new subs this month, and I'm still at 119,900. They will not let me break 120,000. And I mean, they have not let me break 120,000 for a year. A year. I have been at exactly the same number. How is that possible, guys? Come on. It's crazy. But, the reality is that they just don't want me to succeed. And it's because they don't like what I'm saying. I don't think the Chinese cared one way or the other, but these guys, they care. And by the way, all the likes that I get, all the likes on here, all the likes on my videos, 485,000. I got to 485,000 in a year, and I've been at 485,000 for a year. Hasn't moved up by even a tiny bit. I can go and I can see all the likes on all my stuff. Who are they? Well, now it's the Texas Project. How long until silver? You're probably looking at, hopefully, let me see if we're just cruising again today. Nothing too insane going on. Okay, we're cruising. I'm going to say that based on where we're at and based on the technicals, we might have one more test, but at that point, we're probably looking at. I'm going to say that we might touch 100 again in February, which would be great. Might be a little too much, a little too fast, but 18% in a month, not bad. In the last month, we've only done 6.7%. In the last 6 months, we're up 113%. So, if we're gonna be doing 43% a year, if we're gonna stay on that course, then we're looking at 150 by the end of the year. Now, I don't think we will. I think we'll be at 300 by the end of the year. I think we should have been at 150 a while ago. Retraces 200-day moving average to around 54. Yeah, that's a worst case scenario, but it's true. That is the worst case scenario. I just don't see that though. You know, that's the problem is now that the focus is off of silver and it's back onto the fact that the country's collapsing completely and utterly. The fact that China is literally committing warfare against us. I mean, I got a 30-year here that's paying 4.8%, a 20-year that's 4.7%. What? Okay, well, wait until that hits 5%. Holy shit, guys. I mean, they're trying to kill us. They're trying to destroy us. Now, let's see what the VIX is. The VIX is at 17. That's the volatility index. And the Dixie is down to 96. That's what they blamed the flash crash, so to speak, in silver on, which was a complete lie. Any idiot could see that. Crypto numbers. Yeah, well, crypto's a little different. We're gonna see some shit in Bitcoin, but look, when Bitcoin's at 40, then yeah, it'll definitely be something that you might want to buy. Well, that's the problem, Samuel, is there's not enough information. Okay? There's a lot of ignorant people out there who are kind people, and they've been told their entire lives that if you're a Christian, you have to defend Israel, that the Jews, they may not agree with us completely, but they still love us. It's like we're their little retarded little brothers, that we got it all wrong, and he's not the prophet, but it's okay. They still care about us. No, they despise us. They think that our Savior is burning in a lake of excrement, literally their words, not mine, and that he's a false prophet, and that you are not a human being. Their words, not mine. You are not a human being. The only human beings are the ones who were made in God's image, in God's likeness. That's the Jews. That's it. If you're Hindu, you ain't in the club. If you're Christian, you're definitely not in the club. And if you're Muslim, you go first. You're the first ones they want to wipe out. Why do you think that they're trying to start a race war in Europe? Oh, did I say that out loud? There it is. Now we know. So, where is a good place to sell? There's a lot of good places to sell, but right now they're scared. So I'd hang on to it for a little while. Let's see. Let's go and undo these. They filtered a bunch of people. There we go. What do you mean there is no other side? Where did heaven go? Evil versus good. Well, I don't think most Christians are good. They're just not evil. They just are, But maybe that's what they need. Maybe they need to be persecuted to the ends of the earth and driven into the ground before they finally realize how lucky they are. And maybe they actually come back to the faith. They actually start believing in that bullshit that they spew on people as a way to get out of traffic tickets and whatnot. Who knows? It's possible. Oh, we're on the precipice. We are looking into the abyss, and the abyss is looking back into us in a very big way. By the way, Rudy, if you're still on here, you're right. You soak them, then you eat them. Just put them in warm water. Beans, by the way. We're talking about beans again, and rice. That way you don't have to cook it. That way you don't have to make the whole neighborhood smell like food and get yourself killed over a bowl of rice. I'll go over a lot of this stuff in the book. Anyway, all right, guys, buy some silver now. It's time. And I happen to have a little bit. Did you see the pentagram symbol at the beginning of the Olympics? Yes, I did. I certainly did. And I thought, they're so silly. They think that's going to win. That ain't going to win. That's not how you win. All right, let's end that live stream.